Hey y'all, welcome back. Tack för sist, välkommen tillbaka. Thank you all for watching. I'm having so much fun doing this. I appreciate anybody that subscribes, if I get my words out. Especially when you share the videos, that's really cool. I love reading the comments. Good, bad, neutral, negative, whatever. It's all good. I love it. So I am up in the Utah mountains here. Right now it's just my wife and I up here. The rest of our friends are coming up here in a couple of hours. So I thought I would take the chance to come out here and just do a video out here. It is just gorgeous up in here. If you're familiar with Utah, you might have an idea, but it's just, there's something about pine trees and aspens. I mean, here it's mostly aspens. Oh, there's some pine trees back there, but just all the growth, the nature, the birds. I freaking love it. So listen, I wanted to do, this won't be a real long video either. I have had a lot of people ask me as I've been doing these videos now for a couple months. I've been kicked it back up. I started my YouTube channel about 4 years ago, and I did a whole bunch of Norway videos. And it did okay. I don't know what happened. I petered out and I just kind of stopped doing the videos. And I would do one here and there. But I think it's about 2 months ago, 3 months ago, I decided, you know what, I'm going to give this thing a spin and really have some fun with it. And the only problem up here is the flies. The flies are not down lower where we're camping, but up here, there's quite a few of them. Anyway, I started up again and I've been having a blast, and I've been pretty consistent. I took a few days off there because I went and visited my son who moved to Las Vegas, hung out with him for a couple days. But one of the questions I get quite a bit is, well, A, don't you miss the Mormon Church? Don't you miss religion? Don't you miss that connection to God? The third thing, I still have a connection to God, no matter what anybody thinks or tells me. That's just, it just is. I hear people on ATVs. I don't know if they're coming up here or not, but I haven't lost my religion. You know, I left the Mormon Church, and I don't have a problem for the most part with the Mormon Church. There were very few things that I just completely disagreed with. Other than I just don't believe the main premise of the whole thing. But it's not just the Mormon Church. I find most religions grab bits and pieces from the Bible, or, you know, in the case of the Mormons, the Book of Mormon, and take things to fit their needs. And I was never really comfortable with that. I always, you know, when I was on a mission 42 years ago, I got home this summer, 42 years. You know, we used to do what's called scripture. Well, we called it scripture bashing when we were growing up, going to seminary. And if you're not familiar, the Mormon Church has a thing separate from regular school called seminary. Where we lived, we didn't have where you could just take a class in it. They might have that there now, but we had to go at like 6 in the morning for, I think it was like an hour or 2 hours, something like that. I went for about a week and quit. I hated it. Actually, it was probably a month, because I remember doing the scripture bashing, and that scripture bashing was just looking up scripture, see who could look them up the fastest. And when I was on my mission, I got really good at that. I could pick and choose all kinds of scriptures. You know, if I'd run into somebody and they'd bring something up, some argument against the Mormon Church or whatever, I could find stuff in the Bible that would agree with what I was teaching. I hope the wind's not drowning me out. And I got really good at that. But looking back on it, I wouldn't say I was taking things out of context, but in a way I kind of was. You know, I was picking and choosing things. First of all, let me say this, because a lot of you have told me, you got to read the Bible, you got to do this. To me, and I don't mean to be rude or blasphemous or slam anybody's religion, but the Bible is another book written by men. You know, accounts of Jesus, who I believe lived, And, you know, maybe he was the Son of God. I don't have a problem with anybody believing that, and I might believe it myself. I'm not sure. But the actual books in the Bible were picked and chosen to be put together by men, and specifically men. There just wasn't... There are lots of... You've heard of the Dead Sea Scrolls. There were lost books of the Bible that have been found, and some I'm sure were lost forever. It's not that much different than those that will say, well, the Book of Mormon is just something written by Joseph Smith. I don't know that Joseph Smith wrote the Book of Mormon. From my remembrance, he wasn't super educated. And if you've read the Book of Mormon, which I have front to back 3 times, I think you'd have to be... I mean, he might have been a really intelligent guy. You know, my dad, for instance, grew up in Norway in the 50s. And he had to start working full-time when he was 13. I would not call my dad an uneducated guy. He's a very smart dude that started his own business in Canada and expanded and went into other businesses and became a chemist all on his own. So don't get me wrong. I'm not saying if you don't have schooling, you're not smart. I know plenty of people with university degrees and PhDs and masters that are book smart but don't have a clue about the world. There's a saying that, I don't remember it exactly, but basically wisdom and intelligence don't always go together. You can be an intelligent, have no wisdom, no common sense, and vice versa. Obviously, you want a good combination of both. But what I'm saying is the books, for me, are books. And I know people put a lot of faith, specifically in the Bible, around the world. And there are other religious books around the world in different religions. I would never slam on anybody for believing in their book, their religion. Teach his own. Live and let live. I try really hard to respect other people's opinions. But, you know, I think back on like my Viking ancestors who, you know, we call pagans, and a lot of people use that term pagan as a slam. It's not a slam to me. It's just a different belief system. Sorry, there's so many little flies up here. It's just a different belief system. They believed in different gods. The Egyptians had tons of gods. The Romans, all through history, people have worshipped different deities. And I try to look at the world as a whole, and I am not, you know, proclaiming that I'm some all-knowing dude. I'm absolutely not. I'm ignorant in so many things. There are a few things that I'm really good at, smart at, and there are a lot of things I'm okay at, and then there are a lot of things that I don't know squat about. And if I don't know about something, I will say it. I'm not going to try and BS somebody and make myself look like I know something I don't know. I want the Aspens to be in there. So, do I miss religion? No, I don't miss religion. We have a Mormon church basically in our backyard. You know, my yard is fenced, and I've got big trees surrounding the whole property, so we have privacy. But there's a church right behind us. You know, my dad was here a few weeks ago, and he went to that church. I don't dare go with him because they'll think they got me back, and they'll start stalking me. And I just don't want that. But I drive by that church practically every day, sometimes many times a day. And I don't ever look, especially on Sunday when the parking lot's full. Although the parking lot's been less full, and I think that's an American thing. I think people are going to church less. But I don't look at all those cars and wish that I was sitting in those pews listening to the same talks over and over and over. And, you know, to those of you that enjoy that, more power to you. It's not for me. This is my church. This is my religion. This is where I feel close to God. And, you know, there are people that believe just in the universe or in a greater power, and they're not sure what to call it. I could maybe be classified as one of those, but I actually do believe in God. I pray to myself, but pretty much every night. You know, it's a habit that you're taught growing up, and when I left the church, that's something that definitely stuck with me, but in a different way than if you've ever been to, I can't speak for a lot of other religions because I haven't been to a lot of their churches, but if you ever go to a Mormon, say, sacrament meeting, you'll see people get up and say an opening prayer and a closing prayer. And once you've heard hundreds or thousands of them, there's definitely a very similar wording, tone to every one of them. And that's okay. It's just, that's not how I pray. I try to be a personal relationship with God. I want to feel like there's a presence in my life. And it's not, I don't pray for things. I don't ask for money or possessions or, you know, a new ATV. The ATV is right behind me here, by the way. Just, hey, happy 4th of July, everybody. I got my Norway flag here too. You just can't see it very well. But, yeah, I still do, and it's part of my life, and I don't think I'll ever get rid of that. And so, yeah, I don't know. That's the way I look at the world. That's the way I feel about the world. I actually want to start really, I got into Viking history pretty hardcore about 20 years ago. But I want to start really diving in. I've been reading, my daughter has gotten me a couple of Norse mythology books, Viking history books, and I need to start reading those more, really studying up. I just listened to actually a YouTube video talking about King Harald Fairhair, Valhalla, and he was the kind of the first real king of Norway that united Norway. And I read about I listened about his dad and his son who took over for him. And although he had, they think, around 20 kids. And the Viking Age is just fascinating to me. I know they did some bad stuff, but they did a lot of cool. Their societies were really cool. Very family oriented, very community oriented. So I'm going to get into more of that, and I want to do more videos about that too. But I think I'm going to leave it here for now. I'm going to take a little drive up the mountain a little farther. I'm pretty high up right now. I'm guessing I'm close to 8,000 feet here. Where we're camped is probably about 6,500 feet. But there's a way you can go up to the summit here, and that's around 8,500 feet. And if you go that way, you can go even higher. So it's just, I just love this. This refreshes my soul. It gives me a new start for going back to work again. And we're going to Norway in not too long, so I'm super pumped for that. Taking 3 of my adult kids. My oldest can't come. She's got 4 little kids, so it's kind of tough for them. But I hope you all are out enjoying this on the 4th of July. I know this country has problems, but this is a fantastic country. There's a reason millions and millions and millions of people are trying to get here. There's a reason millions and millions of people aren't trying to go to a lot of other countries. I love it here. Let's fix our problems and let's keep making it better. God bless America. I hope you all have a beautiful weekend with your family and friends. And I say it every video, but I really do mean it. Peace, love. Takk for denne gang. Vi snakkes igjen snart. Thanks so much for watching, y'all. I really appreciate it.